Welcome back to Wake Up America Early. The COVID-era Obamacare subsidies run out this week for millions of Americans. For more on this, we are joined now by North Carolina Congressman Brad Knott. Great to have you with me this morning. So what is Congress doing or failing to do to prevent these sharp premium spikes for ACA Marketplace enrollees after December 31st? Of course, I know you guys are on recess right now.
Well, good morning. It's good to be here. And let me just assure you and your listeners that Republicans are working very hard to address this issue. We believe that every American family deserves affordable health care. And what we're missing in this debate is that's not going to be delivered with a new government program or a new subsidy. Health care is too expensive. And we are working hard to remove some of the barriers to a more robust marketplace. And we have received zero help from the Democratic Party. They're incentivized to cause more obstruction, to raise costs, and then blame Republicans for political reasons. But we're very focused on addressing this issue in a more holistic fashion. And I think that we're going to have some very good proposals here early in the new year.
I know we're also in jeopardy of facing another government shutdown in just 1 month. Do you think the Democrats will close the government again?
Yeah, it's a good question, and it's not something that we've really discussed in great detail. Again, Republicans are working to deliver for the American people, whether we're talking about taxes, border security, crime, public safety. We've already achieved some really robust results for the American people. I mean, murders are down 20%. It's unbelievable when you look at it from that perspective, what we've already achieved. And we are grinding out real policy proposals right now, even though we're not in Washington. Committees are still in contact, staff is still working, and we are operating under the assumption that we will be able to get through this deadline with the appropriations required and to keep the government open. Now, what the Democrats want to do, I don't know. I can only speculate. But again, based off what I've seen so far, they're not ready to come to the table with a serious proposal.
As we've mentioned throughout the show, and the big news really out of the weekend, President Trump saying that he believes Ukraine and Russia are close to a deal that would finally end this near 4-year war. Over at CNN, Scott Jennings making a very bold prediction that President Trump could receive and should receive the 2026 Nobel Peace Prize if this happens. Take a listen to this.
Trump's going to win the Nobel Prize. Everybody's going to go crazy. He is going to come to a resolution on Russia-Ukraine. They'll give him the Nobel Prize.
All right, we'll see if that one.
All right. As you know, he's been nominated for his work to end the war between Israel and Hamas. Is he a shoo-in for the 2026 Nobel Peace Prize if he can actually end the Russia-Ukraine war too?
You know, it's a great question, and he should be. But I was with the president the Friday before Christmas, and he came down to North Carolina. And I want your listeners to know this. He is not doing this because he wants the Nobel Peace Prize.
Right.
He genuinely wants to end conflict. He's ended almost a dozen wars around the world. It really causes him great distress that tens of thousands of people are dying on both sides every week, every month, and it's continuing to drag on. And to what end? And he has tasked his administration to work day and night to resolve this, not just because the cost potentially could explode into a regional conflict or a world conflict, but because those two countries are suffering. And he is working overtime to try to bring that to a close. So that's his motivation. If he gets the Nobel Peace Prize or not, that's almost immaterial to him. And he's working to bring it to a close for the right reasons.
Yeah, he's not doing it for the accolades. He's doing it to save lives. I want to pivot to the mess that is now Minnesota. Naturally, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz is playing defense as his viral video showing widespread fraud throughout the state, funded aid programs, including questionable Somali-linked daycare operations. Some of these so-called daycares, they're taking millions from the government. There's no kids inside. And when it says learning center on the outside, it's spelled wrong. So I don't think they're really teaching children in these places. But when you look at who runs this state, right? You can't be too much surprised that there's this much fraud. What's your take on what we're seeing happening in Minnesota right now?
Well, Minnesota is a mess, and they have embraced wholeheartedly for really the last 15 to 20 years this far left playbook of doling out American dollars, doling out the charity of America to really anyone who comes into the country legally or illegally. And this is an unbelievable blight on Minnesota, and the amount of suffering that it has caused. When you think about sometimes, $8, 9, 10, 12, $20 billion that they have extracted and just doled out to people because of their race, because of their immigration status, because of their political affiliations, whatever it may be, without any scrutiny as to where those dollars have gone. It hurts every single Minnesotan. Whether you're rich, poor, urban, rural, whether you live in the inner city or out, it affects everyone in a horrific way. And Tim Walz should be absolutely ashamed of himself for allowing his government to operate with such an unbelievable recklessness. And same with Keith Ellison. Again, the Democratic Party benefited from this fraud. We know that. And I cannot help but think that that was a primary motivation in allowing it to continue. And the idea that this is a surprise,
right,
that is unbelievably dishonest by Tim Walz and Keith Ellison to try to paint that picture now. And I hope that accountability will come.
Yeah, absolutely. Congressman, great to chat with you this morning. Enjoy the rest of your holiday. Brad Knott, thank you.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you, too.